The format for this meeting is a 10-minute speaker, our secretary's announcements, a coffee and snack break, and our main speaker. Our first speaker for tonight is Jerry H. from Oxnard.
Hello, my name is Jerry H., and I'm an alcoholic. And as of, God would have it, he didn't listen to anything I sent him this morning of how my day was going to go. And didn't think I'd end up in a meeting here, but so I volunteered for something at a convention that's in an area that I'm not even part of. And a friend of mine's going through a tough time, got together with him, then we drove out here, did that volunteer work, and then we didn't really get kicked out of the meeting, but we weren't allowed in another meeting over there. They wanted us to pay. So then we started looking for a meeting, and here we are. But I guess I needed to be here tonight because I was just amazed of how many young people. I don't see this a lot of anymore. And I got sober August 8th of 1986. I was 21 years old. And, maybe 8, but really from 12 to 21 was my story. So at 12, stowed away on a bus, went to Las Vegas, and that put me on the streets of New York. I made it back to California through that whole ordeal probably at 19. My first son was born May 1st of 1986, and I was trying everything to get sober. I was going to church at 5 a.m. I was telling all the connects, don't pick up the phone, that kind of stuff. None of it really worked. And anyways, I end up in the hospital. I get out of the hospital, and I get sent to this treatment center. My Connect calls the treatment center, by the way. And I go and I see this guy. He's an old man in this room, and he says, so why are you here? And I'm like, well, the police and, the wife and, a million reasons, nothing to do with drinking or me. And he says, I want you to go out in the hallway, and he says, I want you to write 10 things that if I could wave a magic wand and give you right now, no questions asked, what would they be? So I said, all right. So I got in the hallway, and, I write down, of course, new pickup truck right out of the gate, right? Boom. And, I want to go on a, tropical vacation. I did put down that I wanted to be a father to my son. And then I wanted a bunch of money and, just all kinds of stuff. So anyways, I bring him this list back, and he looks at it, he brings his glasses down. He's kind of judging me, and he says, hey, kid, you might even get all of this. I don't know if you'll get any of it. Maybe you'll get all of it. But he says, I can guarantee you one thing. If you're an alcoholic like I am, he says, you won't keep any of it. And I said, who the F are you? How could you be judging me? You've known me for 5 minutes. So he says, yeah. And he says, we can't help you here. So then I get, a couple more explicitives, like, what? My money's no good, which I had none, right? Total bluff. And I'm walking out the door, and I come back, and as soon as I get to the door, I believe it was, my higher power touching me. I had no place to go. I had burned every bridge. And I go back, so what do I got to do? And back then they had a thing called SHIC, which was a 10-day program, couple of weekend follow-ups. And I'm thinking, kumbaya, I'm out. This is good. He's like, no. And he reaches in this drawer, he pulls out this directory, and he goes, you need AA. I never heard of AA. Didn't even know what it meant. And he goes, that can help an alcoholic like you. So he says, there's, if you hurry up, there's one tonight in Redlands. Anyways, I make it to this place in Redlands. It's a big church. kind of like the one I just pulled up to. The story's kind of funny. And I'm going to the big church, right? And they're, doors are open. They're having some kind of event and party. They're singing, they're eating. And I weighed 105 pounds. I'd probably been up for, I don't know, a week, I thought I was looking pretty good. But the music stopped as soon as I walked up, right? And this guy comes walking out, "Can we help you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here for the AA meeting, He goes, "Oh." He goes, "That's in the basement." And I go, "Oh, all right. So I walk around the back of the church, and I walk down this basement. And I kid you not, it's probably as long as it's still there. And it's just a narrow room, and it was just filled with 100-year-olds and smoke. Everybody was over 100. And I walked straight to the back. I sat in the chair, and I didn't listen to a damn thing. Nothing. I just thinking, man, when is this over? And now I'm trying to get out. And I'm doing one of these, and this guy's in front of me, right? Hi, you know what I mean? His name was George. And I'm like, "Yeah, dude." And he goes, he says, "I'll give you a ride." And I look at him and I'm like, "How the F do you know I need a ride?" Right? Like, are you judging me? And he goes, "Well, do you or don't you?" Right? And I'm going, "Well, yeah, but that's not the point, right?" So anyways, he doesn't give me a ride back to where I was living, which was in an underground well on Barton Road and Waterman Avenue in San Bernardino. He took me to a coffee shop, and he told me his story. His name was Stephen George. He had 26 years at the time, and that old man saved my life. And that old man gave me the opportunity to experience a life I can't even begin to tell you today, right? I can't. I have 7 grandkids. Everything on that list 100 times over. Like, I totally undersold myself, right? Totally, right? An uneducated ghetto kid from the streets, right? I can't even begin to tell you my life today. But, I live in paradise. I have a family that is just absolutely wonderful, and I am surrounded by, handfuls of true friends that when the shit hits the fan, they're there for me. I can walk into any room and look you in the eye and look up, and you know what? Today I don't care that you're judging me. It doesn't really matter, right? Because I'm okay with me, right? And that was a miracle in itself. So, like always, God is, directing the show, pushing people where they need to be, and I needed to be here tonight, and I thank you.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Now our main speaker will share his experience, strength, and hope with us. Please join me in welcoming Majid from Torrance.
Majid alcoholic. As some of you guys know me as a publicity chair of HNI. I used to get up on big meeting and say, if you like to get high with HNI, and put your suit and tie, you're my kind of guy. Meet us every third Tuesday of the month in Hermosa Alana Club, and every time I was walking in a meeting, they're saying, if you like to get high with HNI, and welcome to newcomers. You're most important people in this meeting because that the gift of desperation in your eyes remind us ourselves that we crawl into those doors and ask for help. Raise my hand and say, Majid alcoholic means I have a problem, and it's the only place that my problem gets solved is in Alcoholics Anonymous, in the meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. Some of my favorite speakers are in the house, RMT. Welcome. The life that Alcoholics Anonymous gave us. Before I get to that, I wanted to say I'm Iranian American. I got here when I was really young, a kid, and I didn't know how to speak English. And it's the very, very first time that alcohol did that I couldn't do for myself. It was a time that, every English as a second language. In the end of the year, we have a celebration. And that year, the school didn't let us have the celebration for the, teacher says, we can have the celebration in my house, and you guys can bring some beers too. And they brought some beers. I was here about, 6 months. At the daytime, I was going to Long Beach City College, and at the nighttime, I was going to Wilson High and English as a second language, adult school. And that was the first time, after a few beers that I've had, I was, singing like a canary, and I wasn't even talking to anybody for a long, long time because I was at the fear of, that you find out that I don't know how to speak English. And what is it God could do for us that we couldn't do for ourselves? All of a sudden, I realized that alcohol could do for me that I couldn't do for myself. And I thought that's the way of life. I started, drinking and drinking and drinking, and then that drinking took off, and Iranian, smoking opium and drinking alcohol, and smoking opium and drinking alcohol, and then that became a way of life until I met the girl that she was American Indian from Cheyenne. I told somebody that I met the girl when I came over here. I married her, and he says, "Did she used to beat you up?" I says, "Yeah. How do you know?" And he said they like to do that, And then we went to the concert. I don't know if you guys remember that the story belongs to 70s. Is California Jam #2. And she has a little tiny bitty pills in her hand, and he says, "Majid, do you want this?" And I wanted, to people like me, and I would do anything to please them. And I said, "Oh yes," and I picked it up and put it in my mouth, and I had a sip of beer, and he goes, hey, that was for 3 people. I said, "Okay." And I was awake for 48 hours. She opened up the new possibility for me. I still love her. that you could, be something else as drunk. And that story just got out, and we drink a lot of alcohol, and that was my way of living. I was drinking, and I was passing out, and then when I was waking up, we have a drink, they call it Kyoki coffee. We put some, cognac and some Kahlua in the coffee in the morning, and then, wait it a little bit, when it gets, cooler off, I drink the whole 9 yards and get in the car and go to work. And all day long, I was thinking about alcohol until the sun goes down again, get the 6-pack of beer, and go home, and then we have all kind of hard alcohols at home. Until 2008, something happened, and I got problem with the law, and I have to go in a can for a minute, and the lawyer that he was presenting me in a court of law, God bless his soul. He's a wonderful man. He says, "If you want me to be your lawyer, you're going to have to go to the meeting and bring me 90 days." The first 90 days was over. And he said you cannot go to, one day go to 2 meetings and then, skip a day. No, you have to go 90 days, 90 meeting, constant. Say, okay. And then Christmas come along. And I say, can I stay out for Christmas? He says, absolutely, 90 days, 90 meetings. So I was another 90 days, another 90 meetings. And I got introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous. When I came to the very first meeting that I went, it was TLC in Torrance Alumni Club. And the very first person that raised hand, I went all the way to the end, and I sit in the place, and it was a blankie. I would pull the blankie on my head because I didn't want to see any of you guys. And the first person got up, and he says, such and such, alcoholic, thief, liar, cheat. I says, oh shit, he's talking about me. I lived my life like this. Liar? I was lying, and then the problem was, and I knew that you know that I'm lying. But I was lying anyways. And every time facing me and trying to catch me and say, hey, you're lying. I was lying another 30 lies to say that the lie that I said is true. Alcoholics Anonymous. One more time, I want to say welcome to newcomers. Newcomers, heart and soul of the meeting. Miracle of this program, that's 24 hours. If you pass 24 hours, the miracle of this program happened for you already. One of the newcomers was asking me how we can pass that 24 hours. I say we read a little, we write a little, we share a little, we help a little. We go to the meeting a little, we make people laugh a little, we laugh a little ourselves. We pray a little. Most important things that is happening is we wait a little, we listen a little, and everything will happen for us. 24 hours, miracle of this program. We pray, that pray really doesn't change a thing, but change me for a thing. Change me for that 24 hours that I'm go through it. Change me for the obstacle that it comes and it can clash with me and make me feel bad during that 24 hours. I pray that every morning I get up, I get on my knee and took my ego, my selfishness, my self-centeredness under my knees. And if something come out, we call it humility. And without that humility, that program is not working. And when humility comes out, there's some God, some power, some things, they start working in my life. And you guys promise me things that is not in the book. They say if you want to, you will never be alone for the rest of your life. Every meeting that I go, I still go 7 meetings, 7 days, and every meeting I go, they give me a list of the phone. There is a bunch of people in that phone, and they say, you can call me day or night, anytime you want to. And that's true. That's true. I have so many friends. At meetings that I go, I probably doesn't know everybody's name, but I love him from bottom of my heart. Dearly. Every single one of them have a story that is just like mine. Don't be a bobblehead. Whatever it says in the book is not true. It's true because it's in the book. Bill's story is a Bill story, but my story and Bill's story off. But some of his story is my story. Some of your story is my story. And some of my story is yours. very, very young time, I believe that I believe that lies that if I was living in a nice place, if I had a pretty girlfriend, if I had a wonderful car, if I had a right education, I would be happy. Happiness is inside job. In the Alcoholics Anonymous, we learn you bring a smile in somebody else's face, that smile comes within. That smile comes within. That smile is a down payment for happiness. When you have that smile on your face, the people come to you and dealing with you. Your atmosphere, is the energy around you is totally different. Every morning when I get up and I go to work, it's a lady. Almost every time I think she's going to work at the same time. She has a dog that she walk him and across the street from my. Every time I see her, I say, "Good morning!" Screaming, and she turns around and says, "Good morning," and with the big fat smile on her face. And that smile made my day without her knowing it. And all day long I say, I brought this smile in somebody's face. And that will do the day for me. And the second thing that we learn in this program is your gratitude goes up, you feel good. Your expectation goes up, you don't feel good anymore. You don't feel good anymore. That gratitude, every morning that I get up, I have a book that we call it 24 hours. 24 hours, and that I read the page of a day, and I have to call my sponsor every morning and read the first paragraph on top of the page 20. My very life as an ex-problem drinker depend upon my constant thought of others and how I might help meet their needs. And then I share the thing that I understood about that page and say 3 things that I'm grateful about. I'm grateful that I can put my clothes on myself. I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful that I can tie my shoelaces, wash myself. I'm grateful to be awake. I have so many things to be grateful. I don't have a time to feel sorry for myself. When I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, they gave me a lesson that I always remember it for the rest of my life. They say, you have to have 3 things in order to stay here. First, you have to have a date of sobriety. That date of sobriety is a God's giving, it's spiritual. You have to worship it. You have to grab on it, with 6 hands. Don't let it change. Remember it. The date of sobriety. The second, you have to have a sponsor. A sponsor is a person that will put you through the book. Read the book with you. Put you through the steps. And when you sign up with a sponsor, you have no clue what you're signing up for. Because you find yourself in front of somebody that you don't know him, and you are talking about darkest secrets of your lifetime. And you get rid of yourself. Majid goes away Majid's way, and let the God working in my life. And the third, they say home group. Home group is the people that makes you feel like belongs to. Makes you feel like you're somebody. You belong to some group. Belong to you're a drop of in the ocean. You're part of something that we always wanted to be part of something. And they teach you a discipline. I wanted to say thanks Alan Rosen to ask me to come over, and share my experience. That's really, really honor, and Alan Rosen is belong to David's tribe. And their book is the Torah. And their weekend is Monday. Is that right? Okay. And Muslim, they have a book, they call it Quran, and their weekend is on Friday. Christian have a book, they call it Bible, and their weekend is a Saturday and Sunday. I'm alcoholic, and I have a problem that is a life 24/7, 7 days a week, and my book is the book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And when I get up and close my eyes, the thing that I'm trying to say is when I close my eyes in the morning and I do a little meditation, I don't care if it's 2 minutes. It's one of those Indian religious people. They taught me how to meditate. They say when your mind become really, really clean with all that stuff in it, then you're hooked. They say if you buy a television or radio, until you don't hook it to the electricity, it's not going to be working. When I'm getting up and I'm praying, if I don't clean up my mind, and he says, close your eyes and listen to your breathing. It's a 15 breath. Your mind is completely clean. Then you start praying. The prayer that I do is a set-aside prayer. That was the very first prayer that my first sponsor says, is that you have to remember that prayer until we start doing these steps. God, please set aside everything I think I know. I knew everything. I knew everything. And when I close my eyes, and what is this? Third step prayer is a miracle. Every time I wanted to speak somewhere, I do the third step prayer. Close my eyes. I say, God, I offer myself to thee. When I close my eyes, open up my eyes, I'm totally in a different place. Since Alan Rosen asked me to come to this meeting and share my experience, since he asked me and I says, I'll be honored. The word comes out of my mouth, and since then, I'm in the meeting in my head. And the 1,000 meeting pass in my head until I come to tonight, and share it with you guys. Okay? But when I sat there and I say, God, I offer myself to thee, and I open up my eyes, whatever I was going to say is disappeared. The thing that I'm saying right now is all brand new. They're all brand new. And we start, and before I start, doing steps, it's one of those old timer comes and says, Majid, change your belief. It's going to change your story. You change your story, it's going to change your life. And you're not going to believe it. When you're going through the steps, step one, introduce me to me. He says, all those lies that you think your problem is not alcohol is just 3% of your problem. The rest of it is you. The rest of it is you, he says. He says, I say, I like to believe what you believe. He says, no, we can help you so you can have your own belief. You can have your own God. I don't know. I have a God is within and is mine, and for only person that it works is me. And I'm having a habit of thinking that every single one of you guys have a God of your own. They're saying when two alcoholics, that's sort of the prescription, that, it says one of your problems gets solved when you talk to another alcoholic. It says when you're talking to another alcoholic, is your God and his God is going to have a meeting, and result of that meeting is going to be 24 hours that you're going to be sober. You're going to be sober another 24 hours. But another alcoholic, it has another God. So now you think, you guys, every single one of you having a God. See how much energy is in that room. So everybody's God is here, baby. Where do I get those energies? From you. I'm right here. When I stand up and I talk and I see all these, youngsters and everything, happiness to you guys. I'm so glad that you guys, getting sober in a young ages. Step one, introduce me to me and say, what is my problem? I've already experienced it in the street. I thought you couldn't, drink like I do. And no, it wasn't things. I thought my capacity is so high, I can drink, I don't quit, I can't, and this and that, but then that wasn't true. When I start drinking, I cannot stop, and when I stop, I cannot stop. And that's my problem. And that's make me alcoholic. If you come from same place as I came from, it's every time I was going home, I wasn't sure if I would put the key in that the door is going to open. I wasn't sure if there's anybody like me anymore. I did so much damage. As Al-Anon people are here. We drink and we use, and our family use and drink us. And their feeling will change with our change of our feeling. We are drunk, we are high, we are happy, they are happy too. And every time we don't feel good, they don't feel good either. We did the damage. We owe them amends for the rest of our life because we did the damage. And steps is our way of life, and step one is all my problem. Step one, that's only not talking about, the way I drink alcohol, why I'm like this. It's talk about a lot of other things, like, it says, everybody have a right to have their own opinion. And that's all of a sudden open up the big, grand opening for me. Hey, everybody have a right to have their opinion. Because all my life I was thinking of what you were thinking about me. And it was really, really important to me. What's my family thinking about me? I was thinking what the people of my area thinking about me, what the people of the world thinking about me. I was thinking for them. Until I give a right to everybody that have their own opinion. Then it is their opinion. It's in their head. And the only person has to be dealing with that opinion is them. It's none of my business, even if it's about me, if it's negative. You're a shithead. Thank you very much. You look so very handsome. It's go. We don't care anymore. That smile is the most wonderful thing that is in your lips. And we do anything to keep it there. That's serenity. The prayer that I was talking about is being surrender every single day. I have to. I can't win today's game with yesterday's score. I have to score today too. Today I have to get up and sit on my knees. Right now, actually, I have a knee problem. I don't get on my knee every morning. When I get up, I close my eyes and I, get a little meditation. I put my hand like this, and God, I offer myself to thee. For this 24 hours. Life is not bowl of cherry. We have a good time, we have a bad time. Depend how we believe. Our belief is have a big, play in our mind, in our game, in our life. My younger son went to Albuquerque, New Mexico after a girl. And then they break up, and he has a really, really bad accident. And his brother find it in the internet that, that Nima had an accident, and his mom went at the same night, to the hospital. I drove 14 hours later, I was there, and we were sitting on the bed, top of his bed, and we were waiting for him to move a finger. And they had a big pipe in his mouth, what is this, oxygen in his nose, a bunch of IVs in his vein, and he was it's a really, really terrible picture. And his mom was crying her heart out. And I was sitting there, and I was looking, and I was waiting exactly like her to see him move a finger. It's a sign of, life. And it wasn't a good picture, really, but in my heart, I know that he has his own God. If his God wanted him to be alive, he will be alive. And my wife was mad at me because why don't you cry? I said, oh, you cry for both of us, And I look for Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And I went there and I shared a story that I drove last night, all night long, from LA, from Torrance, to Albuquerque, New Mexico, because my son is in the hospital, and you guys pray for it. Look, I know that, their prayer doesn't change anything. Because we pray for ourselves, not for anybody else. Okay, but I ask everybody to pray for it. They were super nice. They were AA meeting in totally place that I didn't know, not even one person on that meeting. But when I walk in, I feel home. I feel I belong to the place. I feel like that chair that I sit in, is that chair belongs to me. And like tonight, when I'm here, I don't feel like to be anywhere else. It's all my being is here. Yes, I'm here. I'm my mind, my thinking, my everything. And Alcoholics Anonymous is saved our life. I'm so grateful about those old timers in this meeting, and any meeting. Because if they weren't there, I had no clue where I was right now. I remember my very first sponsor. When I saw that, a guy raised his hand and he says, blah blah, I'm thief, liar, and cheat, and I got out of the blanket. And when they say newcomers, I raise my hand and I say Majid, alcoholic. Okay. And my very first sponsor, when he was sharing, he says, newcomers, please don't run away. Don't let us chase you in the parking lot. Let us talk to you. I said, oh, okay. This guy wanted something, And look, they give me a free book on that Saturday. Okay, gonna believe it or not. On Sunday, I went to TLC hoping to getting another book. Not because I wanted, beside that signature that I wanted on my paper. And then, and I came to these steps. And then step 2 is all my solutions. All my solutions. Introduce me to the power. And they say, okay, that's a prescription that you have to have. You're gonna have to believe something. Say, okay, so we get around, and grab each other's hand and get on our knees, and say, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me, to do with me as you will. And then my sponsor says, well, we're going to step 3. He goes, do you believe in God? We're practicing honesty. That honesty it goes under our skin, because when we are coming to the program, we're saying we practice honesty. We practice honesty. We practice honesty. And the very first time that I lied after I was trying to practice honesty, only person that it was feel terrible, it was me. I said, oh shit. Why did I lie? It was no necessary. And he says, do you believe in God? I'm practicing honesty. I say no. He says, fake it to make it. But every morning after this, the 3rd step prayer is going to be your prayer. Every morning you getting on your knee, you do the 3rd step prayer. I was 4 years clean and sober, and I was going through the steps again. And then when I was going through step 3, my sponsor says, Majid, do you believe in God now? And I was 4 years sober. Or are you still faking it? I practice honesty, and I says, I'm still faking it. He says, keep on faking, baby. Is there something working in your life? You are 4 years clean and sober. And all of a sudden, I realized that something is working in my life. Something started working in my life. I'm sober. I wish I would say that they hit me, like a break in my head, and I become sober. But no, it comes little by little by little, and my belief become little by little by little, and I believe in it. I believe something is working in my life. I don't know how it look like. I don't know how big it is, how small it is. Now, when problem comes, I won't say, God, I have a big problem. I tell my problem, I have a big God, that you are a chicken shit, and you're a nobody, and I go through it, and I've learned from this program how to go through my fears, how to deal with it. The steps is clean up the channel for God's grace comes to me. And it started with step 4. It started with step 4. When I was going through step 4, my sponsor says, right on top of every page, God, please, I'm begging you, take away the thing that is blocking me from you, me, and others. It's talking about my relationship with God, my relationship with you, my relationship with myself. Relationship. I had no clue what that means. I didn't know how to spell it. Relationship. I have a friend, he's a psychologist. I told him, I start having a relationship with myself. He says, you know what you are talking about? Having a relationship with yourself, we have a session for that. We treat people for 6 months to have a relationship with themselves. Every morning after pray, when I go and take a look at myself in the mirror, brushing my teeth. I say, Majid, you have a beautiful beard. I love you. You're a success. You're blessed. You're happy. You have some God working in your life. I love your shiny, bald head. And I say a bunch of positive things, and I grab it and put it in my pocket for that 24 hours that I'm going through it. That humility is playing a big things in my life. I can easily forgive. I can easily forget. I can easily give. I can easily, is help, and without expecting anybody doing anything for me. We have a thing that they're saying in Alcoholics Anonymous. They give it to you. If you keep it, you're going to lose it. But you give it, you're going to keep it. And I try to keep as much as I can, I give as much as I can, and every time anybody says something, I listen. And that listening, it just it helped me a lot. You're saying listen to learn to listen. I've learned to listen. Because before, when you were talking, not that I wasn't listening, I was thinking of giving you something smarter than that you said, means that thing that you said, it was nothing. I experienced bigger than that. But today, I listen. There's a story happened after I came out of the can. It's judge says I have to go for 6 months for sober living. For living program for 6 months. And it was a place, the Pacific House, they call it, and is in city of Hawthorne. And I have to be there for 6 months. And the very, very first meeting that I've had, it was a tall black guy. He has a pink suit. He has a pink hat, pink shoes, pink tie. For some reason, the drink that he has in his hand was pink too. It was a whiteboard there. He picked up the black marker, and we had every week we had a session with every one of those counselors, and he was one of the counselors. And we were about 40 girls and boys were sitting around. And he says, and on the board, what makes you think that you can walk out of here and do your thing? Live the life in a life terms. And then it started from the other end, and everybody was saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And in my head, I was saying, I agree with him, I agree with her. I'm going to combine both of those, and I keep on going. And I was one of the last people. And he said, Majid, what do you think? And with the all intelligence that I've had, I say, I don't know. And he says, clap your hand for Majid. And I had no clue that me, by saying I don't know, is everybody likes me. I thought somebody is going to say something bad or something, And I realized that I don't know. And much as I say I don't know, that I don't know, it just helped me out to learn more and more. And much as I've learned from this program, much as I realized that, it's I don't know. And I learn, and I learn, and I learn. And Alcoholics Anonymous become, new school. I become teachable. And that's the biggest thing that is happening for me. The man says, I have five more minutes to become sober. You know, it's just, it's five more minutes. And it's, I was going to say a lot of things, but when I come over here, you know, the thing that comes out of my mouth, I have no clue where is it coming from. But this is his experience that I've had. Again, I want to thank Alan Rosen to ask me to come over here, you know, and share my experience. It's really, really, you know, honored. You know, today, my life worth living because you're in it. I love you, love you, love you, and I love you. And if it's not enough, I love you one more time. Thank you for letting me share.